Welcome to the new chapter of our heptalogy, Mystery of the Greats, Leonardo da Vinci. Within the mind of a genius, he saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. An artist, a scientist, an inventor, and an eternal student of the universe. His mind never rested. He tore through the boundaries of time, searching for answers that did not yet exist. To the world, a genius. To his contemporaries, a man no one could truly understand. He painted light, studied darkness, and sought God. In mechanisms, in lines, and in the breath of man. Close your eyes. Imagine a workshop filled with the scent of ink, metal, and dreams, and the silence where thoughts are born, thoughts destined to outlive centuries. This is the story of a man who did not simply create. He tried to understand creation itself. A genius who came from the future. That is how Leonardo da Vinci can be described. His name became a symbol of the human mind, capable of seeing beyond the horizon of time. An artist, engineer, anatomist, philosopher, inventor. He lived in the 15th century, yet thought as if he had been born 5 centuries later. His manuscripts and sketches still astonish us today. On the pages of his notebooks are flying machines resembling a helicopter and a parachute, submarines, war machines, and even prototypes of robots. He imagined all of this long before humanity could ever build them. Where did a simple artist from a Tuscan town gain such knowledge? Why did he write in mirror script, as if deliberately concealing his ideas? And what were the secret symbols he left in his paintings, symbols that scholars are still trying to decipher? Many are convinced Leonardo was more than just a master of the brush. He was a keeper of knowledge that surpassed his time. Perhaps he received it from secret societies. Or perhaps he truly was a man who had glimpsed the future. Leonardo da Vinci left behind thousands of pages of drawings and notes. At first glance, they seem like chaotic sketches. But if you look closer, you'll see projects for machines that were centuries ahead of their time. Among them were astonishing devices. Flying machine with wings. Da Vinci observed birds and tried to understand their mechanics. His designs resemble modern hang gliders. Helicopter. He called it the aerial screw. A spiral-shaped construction meant to lift a person into the air by rotating like a screw. A prototype of the modern helicopter. Parachute. Leonardo was the first to describe a device that would allow a person to descend safely from a height. Tests of his model in the 20th century proved that it truly works. Diving suit. He sketched equipment that would allow a person to breathe underwater. His drawings included breathing tubes and even an air storage bag. War machines. Da Vinci designed a wheel-mounted tank with cannons arranged in a circle, as well as giant crossbows and catapults. Many of these designs turned out to be quite feasible, but a question arises. Why would an artist conceal his inventions? Why did he write them in mirror script and never attempt to bring them to life? Some believe that Leonardo feared the Church and the Inquisition. His ideas seemed too daring and could have led to accusations of sorcery. Others are convinced he deliberately hid his knowledge, realizing that humanity was not yet ready for it. And perhaps these inventions were not the product of imagination at all, but fragments of knowledge inherited from more ancient sources. The mystery of their origin remains unsolved. Almost all of Leonardo da Vinci's writings were done in mirror script, from right to left, so that they can only be read through a mirror. This was not mere eccentricity, but a deliberate system. Why did he do this? The official explanation is that Leonardo was left-handed, and writing this way made it easier for him not to smudge the ink. But that seems too simple. Considering the scale of his mind, it feels naive to think it was only about convenience. Mirror writing was a form of protection. Leonardo lived in an age when the church regarded any unusual knowledge with suspicion. Anatomy, mechanics, ideas about flight. All of this could easily have been labeled heresy. His notebooks were a treasure trove of ideas that could have cost him his freedom or even his life. There are also bolder theories. Some researchers are convinced that Leonardo intentionally concealed information so that only initiates could understand it. His writings were not a diary, but a codex, created for those prepared to grasp the knowledge. This links him to secret societies like the Freemasons or the Templars. But there is an even more daring thought. Mirror writing was not a way to hide, but a way to encode knowledge for the future. In his own time, his texts looked strange and incomprehensible, but to us they are readable and clear, as if Leonardo was not writing for his contemporaries, but for people who would come centuries later. Perhaps that is why he seems like a genius from the future. He left his traces not for his own age, but for ours. The Last Supper is Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece, painted in the monastery of Santa Maria delle Grazie in Milan. The subject is familiar to everyone. Jesus with his apostles at the moment he announces the betrayal. But da Vinci's painting is not just a biblical scene. It is filled with mysteries that still spark debates today. The first striking detail: next to Jesus, the traditional figure of the Apostle John is missing in his usual form. The figure seated to Christ's right has features that are far too delicate, almost feminine. Many believe this is not John at all, but Mary Magdalene. If true, Leonardo may have hinted at her special role in the story of Christianity, a role the church sought to conceal. The second mystery lies in the composition. Between Jesus and this enigmatic figure, an empty space forms the shape of the letter M, a symbol of Magdalene. Is this coincidence or a deliberate sign? The third is in the gestures and poses. The apostles are depicted in heated discussion, but the lines of their hands and gazes form invisible geometric patterns. Researchers are convinced that Leonardo embedded hidden mathematics and symbolism in the painting, accessible only to the initiated. Some see in the Last Supper a reference to secret societies. There is even a theory that da Vinci was connected to the Knights Templar or other groups who guarded forbidden knowledge. In this case, the painting would not simply be a religious scene, but a coded message left for the world. The Church, of course, rejects such interpretations, yet it is precisely this aura of mystery that has made the Last Supper not only a masterpiece of art, but also a key to one of Leonardo's most discussed secrets. Leonardo da Vinci's life was closely entwined with mysteries and symbols that lead many researchers to believe he may have belonged to secret societies. During the Renaissance, Europe was alive with Masonic lodges, alchemical circles, and secret brotherhoods. Heirs of the Knights Templar, these groups preserved knowledge considered dangerous or forbidden by the Church: astronomy, anatomy, secret languages, alchemical formulas. Leonardo was fascinated by all of these, far too boldly for his time. Some of his paintings and manuscripts resemble encrypted messages. Symbolism hidden geometric figures, hints at sacred knowledge. All of this looks like a language understood only by the initiated. One theory suggests that Leonardo was connected with the so-called Priory of Sion, a secret society said to have safeguarded the ancient mysteries of Christ's bloodline and mystical wisdom from the East. His works, such as The Last Supper, are sometimes interpreted as keys to these secrets. Other researchers point to parallels with Templar symbolism. In his works, there are signs commonly used by the night guardians of holy relics. Coincidence or a cautious hint at affiliation with their heirs? Official history, of course, dismisses these ideas as speculation. Yet Leonardo's very life, his pursuit of hidden knowledge, his mirror writing, the concealed imagery in his paintings, creates the impression that he truly was part of something greater than just the Renaissance. And if this is true, then Leonardo was not only a genius artist, but also an initiated keeper of knowledge that was never meant for everyone. Leonardo was born in 1452 in the small Tuscan town of Vinci, hence his name, Da Vinci, meaning from Vinci. He was the illegitimate son of the notary Ser Piero and a peasant woman named Caterina. Yet this very status gave him unusual freedom. He was not bound by the strict rules of guilds and could choose his own path. He spent his childhood among the hills of Tuscany observing nature. These observations became the foundation of his genius. From an early age, he sought to understand how the world worked. Leonardo sketched water, animals, and the anatomy of plants, not just as an artist, but as a researcher. At 14, he entered the workshop of the Florentine master Andrea del Verrocchio. There he learned painting, sculpture, architecture, and metalwork. His talent was so evident that his teacher soon entrusted him with important details of major paintings. Later, Leonardo lived in Florence, Milan, Rome, and finally in France at the court of Francis I. He was not only a painter, but also an engineer, architect, designer of war machines, and creator of theatrical effects. His life was a constant journey from court to court, from one patron to another. But Leonardo's personality was far more enigmatic. Tall, handsome, dressed in bright clothes, and always impeccably groomed, he stood out sharply among his contemporaries. He was extraordinarily curious and obsessed with the pursuit of truth. His notebooks, thousands of pages of sketches and observations, read like a stream of thoughts, racing ahead of their time. Contemporaries remarked on his gentleness and charm, but behind it lay reserve and secrecy. Leonardo loved solitude and often wrote in ways that made it difficult for others to read his notes. He was a vegetarian, compassionate toward animals, and at times would even buy birds in markets just to set them free. Less well known is that Leonardo was also a musician. He played the lyre beautifully, invented his own instruments, and sought to unite music with mathematics. For him, melody was another form of harmony in the universe, the very same harmony he sought in painting and mechanics. He never married and left no descendants, as though his entire life belonged solely to art and science. And so, to his contemporaries, he seemed like a man out of his time, a genius who had come from the future. Leonardo da Vinci's paintings are not only works of art, but also mysterious messages hiding much more than they seem at first glance. Mona Lisa. Her smile is the most famous secret in the history of painting. Researchers say it changes depending on the angle of view, sometimes joy, sometimes sadness. In her eyes, with the help of magnification technologies, microscopic letters and symbols have been found, possibly left there intentionally by Leonardo. The Last Supper. The main mystery of the painting is the figure next to Christ, which many believe to be not the Apostle John, but Mary Magdalene, yet that is far from all. The arrangement of the apostles and their gestures forms strange geometric patterns. In the 21st century, researchers placed these lines onto a musical staff and obtained a composition. According to some historians, Leonardo encoded within the Last Supper a melody that sounds like a mournful hymn. This fits remarkably well with his well-known passion for music. Vitruvian Man. This drawing has long become a symbol of harmony, but if viewed not as a depiction of the human body, but as a diagram, one can see precise proportions that correspond to the formulas of the golden ratio. It is as if Leonardo wanted to show that man is the key to understanding the universe. Adoration of the Magi. An unfinished painting, but precisely because of this, full of enigmas, in the crowd of figures, one can discern scenes of conflict, strange glances, and faces unrelated to the biblical story. Perhaps Leonardo left here hints of secret knowledge or his own reflections on good and evil. The Virgin and Child with Saint Anne. The three figures form a complex spiral composition reminiscent of alchemical symbols of eternal movement and transformation. Leonardo clearly embedded here a philosophical meaning that goes beyond the religious subject. Leonardo's paintings are not just art, they are encrypted texts where color, line, and even music may serve as keys to their secrets. It seems he deliberately created them so that future generations would keep uncovering new mysteries again and again. Leonardo da Vinci died in 1519 in France, at the Château du Clos Lucé, in the court of King Francis I. Officially, it is said that he passed away of old age at 67, yet even his death holds as many mysteries as his life. According to legend, Francis I himself held Leonardo's hand in his final moments. This image became a symbol of respect and reverence, but historians doubt it. The king may have been elsewhere at the time. It is possible that this touching story was created later to emphasize the master's greatness. Some researchers believe Leonardo did not simply die of old age. His health declined sharply in his final years, and the cause remains unclear. He wrote that his right hand was paralyzed. Though being left-handed, he continued to draw. This raises questions. Was it illness, poisoning, or something else? There are also mystical theories. According to one, Leonardo possessed alchemical knowledge and sought the path to immortality. His interest in anatomy, experiments with metals, and even unusual notes in his manuscripts suggest he may have been closer to alchemy than is commonly thought. Despite the aura of mystery, many of Leonardo da Vinci's secrets have been unraveled through science, technology, and careful study of his legacy. Today, scholars agree his mirror writing was not only a cipher, but also a practical tool for a left-handed man. Leonardo wrote from right to left to avoid smudging ink, while at the same time creating a natural safeguard against prying eyes. Modern research has shown that the enigmatic smile is an optical effect created by Leonardo's special sfumato technique. He deliberately blurred the contours so that the expression would change depending on the viewing angle. Even the mystery of the smile turned out to be the result of a genius's science of light and shadow. Many of his inventions have been tested in the 20th and 21st centuries. It was discovered that his parachute works, his flying machine was capable of gliding through the air, and his diving suit was a feasible prototype. Leonardo was not merely fantasizing. He designed models based on his close observation of nature. Modern scanners and computer analysis have also revealed hidden layers beneath his paintings. Beneath the Mona Lisa, another face was found, and in the Last Supper, lost details were reconstructed. Some of the mysteries, in fact, proved to be the result of his experimental techniques. Today it is clear that Leonardo made discoveries that were not appreciated in his own time. He described blood circulation, gave precise observations about the structure of the human eye, and formulated principles of geology and hydrodynamics. All of these were later confirmed by science and practice, and yet some questions remain unsolved. Why did he encrypt part of his writings? Why did so many of his projects look like knowledge from the future? And was he truly connected to secret societies? Leonardo da Vinci was a man who gave us answers to hundreds of questions, but left behind even more mysteries. One of the greatest mysteries left by Leonardo is the so-called Leonardo Code. This name does not refer to a single book, but rather to an entire system of his notes, drawings, and diagrams, seemingly bound together by an invisible logic. Scholars note that Leonardo never wrote linearly. His notebooks resemble mosaics. Fragments of mechanics sit next to anatomical sketches, formulas intertwine with drafts of paintings. Many researchers believe this was a deliberate method of coding. To understand one discovery, you first had to decipher several others. Some pages look like mathematical puzzles. For example, his drawings of water flows and whirlpools are not only observations of nature, but also hidden equations that modern science managed to decode only in the 20th century. In other notebooks appear mysterious symbols and geometric figures whose purpose is still unknown. What about the solution? Part of the code has been deciphered. Many of his ideas are now confirmed by physics, medicine, and engineering, but there remain sections scholars call blank spots. There are hints of mechanisms that cannot yet be explained, descriptions of the properties of light and sound that do not match the knowledge of his era. It can be said that the Leonardo Code has never been fully unraveled. It turned out not to be just a collection of notes, but a kind of system where knowledge is hidden in layers and cross connections. Each time researchers think they have found the key, a new mystery emerges. And this is why Leonardo remains a figure beyond time. His legacy lives on as an eternal riddle, one that humanity continues to solve, but will never completely resolve. Leonardo da Vinci entered history not only as a painter, but also as one of the boldest engineers of his time. His sketches and manuscripts that have survived to this day reveal a mind that thought centuries ahead. In an Italy torn by wars, patrons valued the ability to design weapons no less than the skill to create paintings. Leonardo devised plans for a battle tank, a massive circular machine with cannons arranged around its perimeter and a special mechanism for movement. A gigantic crossbow more than 20 meters long, capable of launching stone projectiles, war chariots with blades designed to tear through enemy ranks, and improved cannons and catapults with rapid reloading systems. Although most of these machines were never built during his lifetime, modern engineers have reconstructed them from his drawings. and proved that they would have worked. Yet Leonardo's engineering was not limited to the art of war. In Milan, he proposed to Ludovico Sforza the design of an ideal city. It was to have broad streets for transport, separate canals for clean water and for waste, and a multi-level arrangement of buildings. In essence, this was an early vision of modern urban planning, combining hygiene, logistics, and beauty. He also drew designs for portable and movable bridges that could be assembled and dismantled within hours, canal systems for transport and flood protection, and ambitious plans for churches and palaces built with perfect geometry and domes calculated according to the laws of proportion. He was equally fascinated by spectacle. For court festivities, he designed mechanical lions that could walk and roar, stage machinery that made angels descend from the heavens, and devices that allowed scenery to change mid-performance. For audiences, it was pure magic. Proof that Leonardo could unite engineering with art. Water was another of his passions. He carefully studied the movement of rivers, whirlpools, and waves, and suggested building a complex canal network for Milan that could serve not only defense but also trade, irrigation, and even as a source of power for mills. His drawings of vortices and currents later inspired entire fields of hydrodynamics. The paradox is that many of Leonardo's ideas were simply too advanced for the 15th century. The materials and technologies of his time could not yet bring them fully to life, but centuries later it turned out that they were indeed possible. Leonardo thought like an engineer of the future. His machines were not mere fantasies, but working prototypes, blueprints, waiting for the moment when humanity would finally catch up to his genius. Leonardo da Vinci entered history as one of the first to study the human body not only through the eyes of an artist, but through the eyes of a scientist. His fascination with anatomy was astonishingly deep for the 15th century, when dissections were considered nearly sacrilegious and could easily provoke suspicion from the church. Despite the risks, Leonardo secretly visited morgues and performed dissections. His drawings remain breathtaking in their precision. Muscles, tendons, joints, and internal organs rendered with such detail that even modern doctors still recognize their scientific value. He created hundreds of anatomical sketches that would later be seen as groundbreaking discoveries. Leonardo was among the first to describe the structure of the heart and the function of its valves. Comparing it to a pump, he drew its ventricles and traced the direction of blood flow. He studied the respiratory system, the structure of the skull and brain, and the mechanics of the human eye. He was fascinated by how the lungs functioned, how the voice was produced in the larynx, and how veins and nerves spread throughout the body. In his notebooks appear even sketches of a fetus in the womb, an extraordinary and daring attempt to observe the mystery of birth. Centuries before modern medicine, he paid special attention to movement. His notes reveal how he analyzed the mechanics of the body, the way muscles contract when walking, the shifting of the arm during rotation, the distribution of weight on the bones. These studies were not abstract exercises. They directly enriched his art, giving his painted figures an unprecedented naturalism and vitality. Many of his conclusions were so accurate that science only confirmed them centuries later. He noted, for example, that the heart functioned as a muscle, while physicians of his day believed otherwise. He described the spine and the joints with astonishing fidelity. Some of his sketches are still reproduced in medical textbooks as if they were drawn by a modern illustrator. And yet, most of his anatomical work remained unknown to his contemporaries. Leonardo never published his research, and his notebooks were written in such a way that outsiders could hardly read them. His studies seemed intended not for the people of the 15th century, but for those who would come much later and be ready to appreciate them. In this sense, his anatomy is another piece of the same enigma, a man who saw the future but was forced to hide it in pages of mirror-written code. From childhood, Leonardo da Vinci was captivated by nature, and this fascination never left him. Growing up among the Tuscan hills, he would spend hours observing clouds, rivers, plants, and animals. For him, nature was not just a backdrop to human life. It was a teacher and a source of truth. He perceived in it not chaos but harmony, which could be understood by carefully watching and recording every detail. In his notebooks survive hundreds of drawings of plants, leaves, and flowers. These were not mere artistic sketches. He analyzed how the veins of a leaf were structured, how a stem grew, and how roots absorbed nourishment. He was among the first to notice the patterns in the arrangement of leaves and branches, what later became known as phyllotaxis. For Leonardo, even a tree was a kind of model of the universe, the trunk representing strength, the branches, the branching paths of life, and the leaves, the harmony of form. Water, however, was his greatest passion. He called it the blood of the earth, and devoted countless pages to studying its flow, the way it formed waves, whirlpools, and eddies. His drawings can be seen as the earliest depictions of turbulence and hydrodynamics. 20th century scientists marveled at how precisely Leonardo captured the shapes of vortices and currents. Even without the mathematical tools modern physics would later provide, birds also fascinated him. He would spend hours watching their flight, calculating the angle of their wings, the force of their strokes, the curve of each feather. These observations became the foundation of his flying machine designs. He understood that humankind could one day fly, but only by imitating nature itself. Leonardo was not only an observer, but also a philosopher of nature. He wrote that everything in the natural world was connected. The movement of water resembled the flow of air, and the structure of the human body reflected the structure of the earth. For him, man was a mirror of nature, and nature a mirror of the cosmos. He also displayed remarkable compassion for living beings. Contemporaries noted that Leonardo was a vegetarian and felt pity for animals. He sometimes bought caged birds at markets solely to set them free. For him, this was part of the same harmony he sought everywhere. Life was sacred, and nature was not to be exploited, but to be understood and respected. In many ways, Leonardo was one of the first thinkers to treat nature as a system, where every element had meaning. His observations anticipated ecology, botany, zoology, and hydrodynamics by centuries. Yet for him, it was not about science alone. It was about a quest for harmony, hidden in every leaf, every drop of water, and every wing in flight. Leonardo da Vinci left behind not only paintings and notebooks, but also a legacy that lived on through his students and followers. In his workshop, he trained many pupils, yet the closest and most faithful was Francesco Melzi, a young nobleman from Milan who accompanied Leonardo to France and inherited almost all of his manuscripts after the master's death. Thanks to Melzi, Many of Leonardo's notebooks survived, though over time his heirs sold or dispersed them, scattering precious pages across Europe. Another longtime companion was Gian Giacomo Caprodi, known by the nickname Salai. He lived with Leonardo for more than 20 years, and some believe his likeness appears in paintings such as Saint John the Baptist or Bacchus. Salai inherited works and tools but lacked his master's genius, becoming instead a shadowy figure linked to Leonardo's legend. The most remarkable fact is that Leonardo's ideas were never truly understood in his own time. His scientific observations remained unpublished, locked away in chests. Discoveries he made, from the structure of the heart to the flow of water, were only recognized centuries later in the 19th and 20th centuries, when his manuscripts were carefully studied by scientists. It is as if Leonardo left knowledge not for his contemporaries, but for the future. In art, his influence was profound. His approach shaped younger painters and inspired great rivals like Raphael and Michelangelo. Yet his true legacy lay in redefining the very idea of an artist. Not simply a craftsman of beauty, but a thinker, a scientist, a seeker of truth. His vision of art as science became a cornerstone of Renaissance and Baroque culture. Centuries later, Leonardo continued to inspire inventors, engineers, and scientists. His sketches were studied by innovators of the 19th century. His anatomical drawings became a foundation for medical illustration, and his studies of optics and light influenced physics. Even today, artists, architects, and researchers still turn to his notebooks and find ideas that feel strikingly modern. In a sense, Leonardo's greatest disciple is humanity itself. He left a heritage too vast to be exhausted, a map of thought and imagination that future generations still follow. And this is why he remains a figure beyond time, not only the genius of his century, but a teacher for all ages. Leonardo da Vinci left behind ideas that came to life not only in the 16th century, but centuries later. His legacy became the foundation of entire fields of science and art, and his name turned into a symbol of progress. In medicine, his anatomical drawings were so precise that some are still used in textbooks today. For example, his depiction of the heart and its valves anticipated William Harvey's discovery of blood circulation in the 17th century. His sketches of a fetus in the womb are considered the first scientific images of their kind. In physics and mechanics, his observations of whirlpools and flowing water became an early attempt to describe turbulence. In the 20th century, scientists studying hydrodynamics and aerodynamics analyzed these diagrams. Some of his models of fluid motion were later applied to aviation. In engineering, his ideas inspired inventors across the ages. In 2000, British skydiver Adrian Nichols built a parachute based on Leonardo's design and proved it worked. In the 20th century, NASA engineers examined his sketches of flying machines, comparing them with the principles of gliders. In the 21st century, his bridge designs were tested in Norway, and one model was shown to be fully functional. In art, his influence is even more visible. The Mona Lisa became the most recognizable painting in the world and a symbol of art itself. Salvador Dalí created his own versions of her portrait, while Marcel Duchamp in 1919 turned her into an ironic icon by adding a mustache and the inscription LHOOQ. The Vitruvian Man became an emblem of harmony, Its image has been used by the World Health Organization on Italian euro coins and in countless biology textbooks. In literature and popular culture, Leonardo turned into a myth. Dan Brown's 2003 novel, The Da Vinci Code, became a global bestseller, sparking a wave of fascination with his paintings, notebooks, and secrets. His name became synonymous with mystery, as if it held the answers to history and religion. Even in 21st century science, Leonardo remains a source of inspiration. In 2019, the 500th anniversary of his death, exhibitions and research around the world highlighted his links to robotics, medicine, and modern design. Scholars from Harvard and MIT noted that his approach to observing nature and his systemic way of thinking essentially foreshadowed the scientific method. Thus, Leonardo's legacy permeates every sphere of culture. His anatomical work advanced medicine, his drawings inspired engineering, his studies of water-shaped physics, his paintings transformed art, and his very persona became a symbol of the eternal search for knowledge. In many ways, Leonardo works in the 21st century just as he did in his own time.